Well, good evening, everyone. This is the Public Utilities Commission meeting for Tuesday, October 10th. The first item on the agenda is roll call.
Okay. Andy Hassan, Carrie Rice,
Here.
Susie Coram,
Here.
Joyce Hall, Pat Nolan,
Here.
Dave Preisel, and Scott Snyder.
Here.
All right. Second item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes.
So
Susie moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item number 3, we have several items here. The first one is item 3.1, action on change order number 9 for wastewater treatment plant project.
Yeah, so if you notice, I did make a change on that. We went back and looked. I believe this is change order number 9, and on my action sheet, I have change order number 8. So we are just making a notation of that. This should be our final change order for the wastewater treatment plant. It is it's a positive amount, so a reimbursement or a no charge to us, a positive amount of $53,153.57. It's just kind of buttoning up things that we really didn't have to do as part of the project. If you go down to the second page or page 4 on that, we got some credit for some stop plate seals. There was some conduit replacement that we paid for, some duct insulation that we paid for. There was an adjustment to our sign, some coating insulation. We did have one of the units, I believe it was one of the air control units. When we received it, it sits outside. It had some damage. It had a dent in it, which didn't affect the operation at all. So we got some credit for that. And then there's a computer allowance credit that we did not use in there. And then there was some other coding credits in there, which totaled up to be $53,153.57 of credit. So we will need a vote on that too.
Do we have a motion to accept the action on change order number 9?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. All right. Agenda item 3.2, action on Magni pay app number 36 in the amount of $94,219.77.
Yeah, as Carrie just stated, this should be the final pay application. I believe we are still holding a little bit, or actually we're not retaining anything on this. So the project will be wrapping up after we make this payment. We'll settle up with all the paperwork with the state on getting repaid for the loan, and then actually our loan will start kicking in next year on that. So it is a final application or a final application for payment for $94,219.77.
And I assume you need a motion?
Yes, please.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Susie moved. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on agenda item 3.2. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item 3.3 is action on generator proposals for wastewater department.
So if you go through my issue sheet, I just kind of explain what's all going on. The current generator that we have, it's a portable generator that we have at the wastewater treatment plant, or for all the lift stations. There's 14 different lift stations around town. We have one generator that we try to bounce all over town. When there's power outages, things like that to run these lift stations. It's a 1980 generator. It's an Alice Chalmers engine. Alice Chalmers hasn't been in business since 1982. The owning company bought out Kohler, and then Kohler bought Onan, or Cummins bought them. So finding original generator parts are impossible at the best. We did have it's actually not even operational today. The generator, it's a control panel issue that went out, and we cannot find one anywhere. Now we've looked into renting generators in the time being. The problem is we could not find any rentals that would work for us. So we couldn't even rent any out. So we did go out and look at purchasing new generators. It's something that we have to have. As we all know, the last couple of years have just been crazy in terms of storms that we're getting, not only in the winter, summer storms that are knocking power out, wind that's knocking power out. So these are definitely a needed item. It's very essential for operations down or around the city. So basically we solicited 3 proposals. We got Interstate Power Cummins at $74,350 plus an approximately $4,000 for cables and plugs, which comes to about $78,350 a generator. Cummins came in at $96,561, and that included plugs and cables. And Fabic Cat came in at $109,900, which included plugs and cables. We would be taking this out of reserve funds, which you'll see the cash reports. So we have reserve funds for things like this. This is kind of why we actually put money away for part of our DNR replacement fund. So what I would like to do is I would like to actually get 2 of them. One generator trying to operate 14 lift stations is nearly impossible. If we have a full city outage, when that has happened in the past, we've kind of relied on the water department generator, the portable generator that we have in the water department, which it sometimes works, but if the water department needs it for wells and things like that, then them guys don't have that ability. So what I would like to order 2 generators so they have them down there. So we'd be looking at, $78,350 approximately times 2 for the wastewater department. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on them. They're what we need. I think the one that we were looking at was a 90 or an 85 kilowatt or 95 kilowatt, a 95. So, and they do have 1 in stock. I'm not sure on 2. So
which one are you looking at? Are you looking
the
at
Interstate Power for
Okay.
78,350.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
they're
so with those 3 different ones, are they drastically different? Do they do
no
are any of them easier or easier to service or
No,
anything like
they're all very similar. Generators, I mean, are very similar, in terms of what they do. The difference comes in that Interstate Power has a 95 kilowatt, and Cummins and Fabic Cat, I believe, are hundreds. So you're going to pay a little bit more for that extra power. But we've had the electricians out and looked at what we have, and the 95 is more than enough for what we need.
Okay,
And they're all local. They're all right coming out of the cities.
Okay.
For service.
A double kip, we're looking at, check my math, $156,700 for the purchase of 2 from Interstate Power.
Approximately, yes. It just depends on cables. That's probably going to be the most cables and plugs. It just depends on, and if we can get a deal by buying 2 of them at the same time.
So where do these actually sit? If we have
They're on
14
trailers.
stations.
These are on
if we have
trailers.
14 Uh-huh.
So we would put them probably here by the other generators, and wastewater does have some room down there where they do keep the big blue one that we would just eventually probably just sell at auction and just get rid of it.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to purchase?
I had one quick question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I support, what you're proposing here. Of those 14 lifts, some of the smaller ones, was there any reason why they didn't put in standby generation like natural gas fired or diesel fired at the time, or some of those in the plan to maybe when they need, maintenance or a makeover to put in standby generation, gas
Yeah,
fired or diesel fired?
kind of what we do now, Scott. I don't know what it was years ago. Obviously generators are expensive. And to have one just sitting at a lift station,
Yeah.
and you're going to spend, even let's just round it up and say $100,000, you're looking at $1.4 million to do these. We are in the budget, not on the wastewater side, but on the water side, with both of the departments, we actually are in the works of getting more generators as we can, to have them on site. We put a few in, or one in last year. I'm looking at adding some on the water side, in our budget and things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of it also comes down to room that we have. Lift stations are small; they're just a tiny little plot that we own. So if we have them, I would love to have standby generators at every single lift station. Now, saying that, some of these smaller ones that we have, there might be 4 or 5 houses on them. Does it really pay to put $100,000 standby generator for 4 to 5 houses? If we have the ability to move these around, and if we get 2 of them, that means 2 of the staff can be out at the same time, kind of in a rotation basis, just moving around the city and things like that. So we do look in the future to add them, but as it stands right now, the portables are kind of our best bet right now.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
Those Riverside Drive, we put one in.
Yes.
A permanently mounted one.
Yeah.
Automatic,
Yep.
automatic one.
Yep.
So we need a motion. It looks like we're heading in the direction of accepting Kip's proposal to purchase 2 emergency generators. We need a motion.
Yes, we will.
Does this go to board or public works and then
No.
approval, or is it approved right here?
No, everything, the only thing really that goes to further than this committee, Scott, is the budget. Or if we have a change to the budget. Other than that, everything, the Public Utility Commission makes the calls on all this kind of stuff.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. I'm looking to the board. Do we have a motion to approve proposal to purchase 2 new emergency generators?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any more questions or discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If there's any opposition, voice it now. No opposition, motion carries. All right, let's go back to the agenda. Action on proposed 2024 water or wastewater budget.
So in your packet is the wastewater budget. So our projected revenues for 2024 are $3,496,346. With our expenses being $3,483,534. So we are under what we are anticipating for our revenues. And then one note just to keep in mind that this does not include any capital projects that were approved using the reserve funds. If you remember a couple months ago, we approved moving forward with the North Street project up there to do a bunch of water and sanitary up there. And we're projecting about $525,000 projected up there. Now, there is not a whole lot in this budget in terms of projects other than the the North Street project, you know, we can kind of go through it if you want to. Nothing really changed a whole lot from last year in terms of what we've done. It's just, you know, updating everything and getting everything kind of up to the 2024 standards. Just an FYI, why the budget is so tight this year on wastewater is we have to anticipate our almost $800,000 payment that we have to make on our wastewater treatment plant loan, which will be starting in 2024. So that's in this year's budget. And also with the project that they're doing down at the biosolids facility down in Ellsworth, our costs down there went from about $400,000 in 2023 to a projected $650,000 in 2024. So, you know, just between those two items, we're adding, you know, about $1.6 million onto our budget. So we have already discussed at City Council a while back, we will be reviewing rates in 2025 again. We just can't keep running with such a tight budget. For 2024, we're fine. But like I said, for 2025, we will be reviewing rates again and seeing what we need to do to get us a little more wiggle room in here. So that's my
And
spiel.
you're looking for a motion to approve.
Yeah,
But-
yep. A motion to approve the wastewater budget, and then I'll forward it on to council in their packet with the rest of the city budget.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So is this a budget that you worked on based on everything from the last year, essentially?
Yeah, so you don't see all the budget. So, but when I go through it in our software, it lists out prior years, it lists out up to date where we are today, and then it lists out projections. So yeah, it's just kind of going through and just setting our budget for next year for 2024.
Okay.
You guys are just seeing the snapshot of it. You don't see all the background.
Right. And as far as, for example, salaries,
That's all in there. Yes.
yeah, but you're
Yeah,
not
which is-
anticipating any new positions or anything that's gonna throw this off?
Not this year.
Okay. Okay,
Unless we have some retirements, then obviously, but that's all included in our budget anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, and the salaries and all that stuff are set at city council.
great. I'll move to approve the 2024 wastewater budget.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Pat seconds. This is an opportunity for additional questions or comments. Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposition. Motion carries. All right, the next item on the agenda is the 2024 water budget.
So again, all this is in your packet. Projected revenues for 2024 are $4,625,500 with proposed expenses of $4,448,255. And again, this does not include any capital project costs that we already talked about to use reserve funds. So our North Street project, we're anticipating just about 1.5 or just over $1 million. We're projecting $1,055,000 on that one. And then we're also working through the Lake Malibu crossing, putting the new water line under Lake Malibu, and that's about a $600,000 cost of there. So again, it's just kind of a standard budget. There's nothing real fluffy in here. I did mention that we are looking at doing possibly a generator at well 5 this year. And then just a couple other minor things that are in there. Nothing real heavy this year because of the 2 projects that we have going on.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Susie moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any more questions or discussion?
I'm curious as to our, uh, the reserve funds. I'm sorry, I was looking for the right word.
You'll see that in your utility cash reports on 6.1.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any more questions? Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition? Motion carries. Going back to the agenda, we're now on agenda item number 4, project updates, project status report.
So we do not need a motion. This is kind of just for everybody's information. We did add the Green Street, 11th Street, water. So 11th Street actually isn't going to be done until 25. But then we also did add the Lake Malibu and the North Street project in there. And then you'll see probably next month, hopefully, if we have all the paperwork done, the wastewater treatment plant improvement will actually come off of there. And then we'll start adding kind of where we're at on the Lake Malibu and North Street projects. So those are just for information.
Okay. Any questions for Kip on that? All right. Agenda item, let's see, number 5, other business for informational purposes only or for an upcoming agenda.
I did not have anything this month. Oh, well, next month we do have to vote on chairperson and vice chairperson. So we'll have that on for next month.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else? All right, we'll go on to agenda item number 6, sewer utility and water utility cash reports.
So this is where you want to, this answers your question here, Susie. So if you go down to the bottom, it tells us what our balance is as of through September 30th
Yes,
on both accounts.
right.
And these are just for information only too.
Right.
Any questions or comments on this?
In the budget, is there a contribution to the reserve funds every month?
Well, if you kind of look down, you can see the additions and then deductions on each of them. So it just, in a lot of those, like we've kind of talked about this in the past, and a lot of those, it depends on the time of the month and where we're at in billing too. Right now we just sent out third quarter billing, or so you'll see that increase now as we start getting payments and different things like that in. And then when you're in the off months, February, March, things like that, you'll start seeing decreases in that. The one thing about the sewer cash report too, that we should note is we're not really trued up to either yet on the wastewater treatment plant project. So we always kind of front the money to make payments to the contractor, and then we get that money back through the loans. So they're close, but that's what your additions and deductions are on the bottom of that sheet.
Okay.
Any other questions on this topic? Hearing none, we'll go to agenda item number 7, utility payables.
So yeah, you got your payables. This we do need a motion.
I'm just looking down the list. Does anyone have any questions about this? We will need a motion to accept the utility payables.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Pat seconds. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. Anyone want to move to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion. All those in favor? I don't think we need a second, do we?
Yes, we do.
We need a second.
Yep.
I get,
Scott seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Um,
All right, we are adjourned. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
thank you.
Have a nice